I'd like to call this meeting to order, June 6, 2023. Would you please stand with me? Mayor can do the prayer.
Please bow with me. Lord, thank you once again for the wonderful city that we live in. We thank you for the staff that keeps the city running. We thank you for the first responders, our police and fire department that protect us on a daily basis. We ask that you watch over all of those people that put their lives on the line on a daily basis. In the recent times, our city's become a little bit fractured. We're still a great city. We still love God. We still have a great country. But it seems like we have just differing opinions. So, Heavenly Father, hear my prayer for unity, that we may all love each other as you first loved us. May we act with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience toward one another, living in unity with you. May we lay down our swords, set aside our grievances, and forgive each other as you forgave us. Lord, lead us to take what you've given us, love, mercy, grace, and forgiveness, and spread those in this city, bestowing them upon others in our lives. May your love bind us together in perfect unity. All this I pray through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathy, will you call the roll?
Mayor Schmidt.
Here.
Bishop.
Here.
Avery.
Here.
Mendel.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Carlisle.
Here. Okay, the announcements, the business from the audience. If you want to talk to us, you need to fill out a form, and we'll call you up later. Remember, you get 3 minutes to speak, and we just want to thank everybody for coming. Mayor's report.
Pretty much a light one. I attended the Sea Service Memorial Day celebration. Those guys do a good job. They have done wonders with that museum over there. So, and they had a good turnout in that. And also, don't forget about the Juneteenth event on the 17th of this month. Ada McGowan's putting it back together with her group, 8 to 5 p.m. Downtown. So, if you please attend, and she'll also take donations if you'd like to help out financially. So, that's all I have.
You don't have the fire.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do have something. The 4th of July fireworks show, this year the 4th of July falls on a Tuesday. City's budgeted and CRA have both budgeted $5,000 apiece. We are in the process of raising the rest of the funds so we can have another show that takes about $26,000 to put on a fireworks show anymore. Last year's show was $25,500. I'm asking for a city council to approve the proposal that is attached for Pyro Displays, which is a local company. Mr. Dixon owns this company and does a wonderful job with fireworks. So I'm asking your approval to enter into contract with Pyro Displays. So.
I move to approve the proposal and authorize the mayor to enter a contract with Pyro Display.
I second it.
Any comments from the audience? Here.
Thank you.
Make them pretty, that's all we care about.
Poll board, please.
Bishop.
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Thank you.
Consent agenda, oh, sorry. Councilman's concerns, comments, and liaison reports. Ms. Mendel?
I did go to the Sea Services Museum Memorial. That was just amazing, and a lot of the folks here were there, and we need to remember all the people that have died really in our service, and that is a great museum. Please go and see it. It is a fantastic history of our service people from Highlands County and other places. It was wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Harrison?
No report.
Thank you. Mr. Bishop?
No report.
I met with Greg at the building department this past week and did a ride-along with him. He's got a lot on his plate. There's a lot going on. He's doing a good job. gonna put a bug in council's ear. They're a little understaffed. Remember that at budget time. That's it.
Okay, thank you. I attended the Sea Service Museum as well, and I have every year. I've been a councilman. It's always a great event. You ought to go, and if you don't go to their event, you need to go and see what they have in that building. It's amazing.
It is, yeah.
And it's not cluttered. I mean, they do an amazing job, and they'll tour you around and explain things, and probably not many people in here know it, but there was a ship named the Highlands after Highlands County. So, just interesting things to find out. So, thank you for that. Okay, I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion, a second. Anyone want to discuss the consent agenda? Kathy?
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Kendall,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Todd.
Yes. Okay, there's no old business, new business. It's a public hearing. Ordinance 1512, a city initiated request to amend city comprehensive plan future land use map, especially amending the future land use designated to the properties totaling 1.80 acres located at 1300 and 1310 US 27 South, bearing parcel number, and I'm not going through all that because my attorney will do that, and I will turn it over to Mr. Swain.
All right, if you'll formally open the public hearing, please,
Oh.
sir. The hearing is going to consist of the consideration of two different ordinances, and I'm going to read the titles. Ordinance number 1512 is an ordinance of the City of Sebring, Florida, amending the City of Sebring Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map, specifically amending the future land use designation for two properties totaling 1.80 acres and located at 1300 and 1310 US Highway 27 Sebring, bearing their parcel numbers and lying in Section 26, Township 34 South, Range 28 East, Highlands County, Florida, from county commercial to city commercial, transmitting said amendment to the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity for notification, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. The companion ordinance that you're considering this evening is number 1513, and it's entitled an ordinance of the City of Sebring, Florida, changing the zoning classification, specifically amending the zoning classification for two properties totaling 1.80 acres and located at 1300 and 1310 US Highway 27 Sebring, bearing their parcel numbers and lying in Section 26, Township 34 South, Range 28 East, Highlands County, Florida, from County B3CU to City Commercial C1, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Stephanie, would you like to come up? I would try to say your last name, but I'd butcher it.
That's fine. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Stephanie Von Pileski Bush with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council. And this is the second reading for these two. And so you heard this a couple weeks ago. Actually, I'm going to have to look at it. And so can you move it up?
Oh. Well, it's not working, so.
There you are.
Go back
Okay.
to that.
So, as you probably remember, the future land use is, it's currently in the county. It's county commercial, and the proposed city future land use is city commercial. And, yeah, just keep going. The county zoning is B3CU, and city is gonna be C1. And, yeah, skip over that. You probably already know where all that is. The water and sewer is available, solid waste is available, and obviously, transportation and schools aren't an issue for this. And the planning board approved it on May the 9th, and so, and then the city council approved it on May the 16th, and now we're asking for the second reading approval. And those are your two motion options.
Okay, thank you.
So I kind of just buzzed through that. If you have any more questions, I can
Anyone
answer
got any
them.
questions?
But you heard all of it last time, so.
Anyone in the audience got any questions?
What was the recommendation on planning and zoning?
Approval. It's for a Chipotle.
Well, basically, we don't have a choice. We annexed them in, we have to change it, so this is one of those things that is making them up. So I can close the,
If there are no comments, yes, sir.
okay, the, public hearing is closed. We'll, look at these two for motions.
I move to approve ordinance 1512 on, can I do them together, Bob, or no?
Separate, please.
Okay. I move to approve ordinance 1512 on second and final reading.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any comments? Kathy?
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, on 1513, ordinance 1513.
I move to approve ordinance 1513 on second and final reading.
Second.
Any comments? Kathy?
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay. Moving right on to 10C. This is a proposed annex of partial C 163529 A00 0041 0000. Mr. Cool. And Sean, you want to come up with him, or you going?
I'll hang out here for now unless you have any questions.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Carl Cool. My address is 3570 Lakeview Drive, Sebring, Florida. I'm an engineer. I'm here representing Sean Marks. He's the owner of the property we're talking about. In your agenda package is a map showing the property. Sean plans to develop this site into business. Right now, it's a pasture. Prior to that, it was a grove. It's south of State Road 66 and west of US 27. He would like to, the property west of his site and the property south of his site are already inside the city limits. You've already accepted those. So this is a little bit of an out parcel, but he has city annexed property west and south of him. He plans to develop it. He will need city water and city sewer. He's agreeable to annexing the city into the city and agreeable to paying his fair share to get this. There's a city water main on the north side of 66, so we got city water right across the street. At the current time, there's not a city force main, but we understand there are plans on the way for doing that. Your agenda package showed what looks like a subdivision with lots out there in it. He plans to not sell any of the parcels of land. He plans to keep the ownership, and then if someone wants to use a parcel, he would maybe consider a long-term lease with them, and would retain the ownership of the property. So we're not planning to do a record plat to record a plat, but he will own that, and it'll be a development. What is proposed in your development, in your package, was that the lands on the west side and on the south side would be zoned in the city at C1, and then the internal lots would be zoned C2. We have to go before the Planning and Zoning Board to see if they recommend approval. We know there's going to be a development order drawn up by the city, spelling out all of the details that he would have to have. We're here today to see if the council is generally in agreement with annexing this piece of property. And if you are today, that you cannot annex it today. It'll have readings and at least 2 meetings with the Planning and Zoning Board, and at least 2 readings back to the council. But we wanted you to see it and let you see what you think about this possible annexation.
Okay.
Mr. March is here. If you have questions, we'll try to answer them.
Do you,
And Stephanie here is here. The Central Florida Regional Planning Council has reviewed it and made recommendations.
Stephanie, would you like to speak on this?
Good evening. Stephanie Von Pileski with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council. Mr. Cool pretty much covered everything, although the Regional Planning Council doesn't actually make recommendations. We just put the information out there. But, I mean, it's exactly what he said. The C1 would be closer to the residential areas and the C2 would be on the other side And so there is, traffic, there's access opportunities on State Road 60 and US 27, and there has been coordination with DOT on that. And,
Thank you.
yeah, so if you have any other questions.
Do you have any ideas what kind of businesses he's wanting to?
It is, still be some that would be retail sales. His business is the auction that's out on 66, and he plans the large lot on your drawings. That would be on the south side. That will be where Inside Auctions would be moving to. There's plans to have one driveway off 27, a good ways south of the traffic light. We have met with the engineers with DOT, and he asked, the drawing you have is how far we had to move the entrance, because they're very, very concerned about the, that's where 27 goes from 6 lanes to 4 lanes, and it's at an intersection. So they're not going to allow a driveway where we thought it ought to have. We had to move it south. And likewise on 66, we had to move the driveway further west to not have a problem with the decel lane going to the traffic light. So we've already had a good meeting with about 6 or 8 of the DOT engineers, and we understand we got to get their permits to have the driveways off 66 and off 27, and the drawing you have is about where the driveways are planning to be, and we believe it will meet all DOT regulations when we put it together.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just one question. How long do you think it's going to take for all the lots or the zoning to be, or for the businesses to come in?
I don't know if he has people in waiting right now, but this is a long-term project.
Okay.
And I would imagine that it'll be 5-6 years before it'll be filled up.
Okay.
Maybe longer, but the plan is he doesn't want to sell them. He would own it and lease it to people with a long-term lease, and it would be developed, and but so he's got to develop that. There might be some that would be closer to the entrance roads that would probably be developed sooner, but we got to get the roads in and the water and the sewer lines.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Do we need, we don't guess we need a motion or anything?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna make a
We're
motion.
going to make a motion.
Okay.
I got,
Questions?
any questions?
Any questions? Anyone? Not? I
Do
need
you
a
have an
motion.
estimated cost of what it would cost the city to make this property what you want it to be? Sewer, plumbing, water?
Typically, the answer is 0. The city doesn't run water lines out there. If there's water lines to be installed, he will have to pay for them.
There is no strain.
We've
We've
capacity.
looked into all of that. Everything is compatible.
We have to do a calculation as to the volume of the water lines, the volume of the sewer lines, to make sure we're not overloading. And currently, I know because of other projects, the city has reserve capacity in both the water system and in the sewer treatment system.
And there's already been plans to come down 27 with the sewer line out to the county properties. So, all infrastructure.
Okay. I move to instruct our city attorney to draft the necessary ordinance and development agreement to begin the annexation.
Second.
Any more comments or concerns? Kathy?
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I see we have a lot of concerns from the audience, so we'll take them. Just remember, you have 3 minutes, and I see there's a lot of them on here with the Pride Fest. If someone's coming up, if you hear somebody's already spoken what you wanted to say, there's no sense in repeating it over and over and over. So the first person is Jeff Shoup. 3 minutes.
All right. Good evening. I am Jeff Shoup, Sebring resident and executive consultant to the Highlands County LGBT+ Caucus. I come before council this evening to provide an update on Pride Fest and discuss our plans to conduct a safe, secure, and legally compliant event. I'm thrilled to announce our operations are fully funded thanks to the generous financial support we received from our individual and corporate donors. We received donations from many local residents and businesses, as well as donors from all over the country, including many former Sebring High alumni. Based on pre-event ticket sales and the public response to our publicized events, we're excited for what we anticipate to be a robustly attended Pride Fest. The Pride Kickoff Party, hosted by Morty and Edna's, has been hugely popular. Seats are selling fast. Pride Brunch, hosted by Faded Bistro, is sold out. Our Pride Fest VIP ticket packages are also sold out, but general admission tickets are available. We're proud to partner with local businesses and organizations, including Time to Dine Food Truck, Cora's Creations, Flash Comics and Events, Petco, and Highlands Lakeside Theater, who've agreed to participate as vendors or donate items for our silent auction. Pride Fest received positive media recognition, being featured in articles in both the Orlando Sentinel and the Orlando Watermark. While a handful of Florida cities decided to cancel their Pride events, Sebring stands as a beacon of hope in this very dark time. With the increased scope of this year's events, we sought advice from our partner organization, Come Out with Pride Orlando. They generously provide examples of lessons learned. Like us, they partner closely with local law enforcement to ensure adequate safety protocols. They also recommend partnering with law students to serve as volunteer legal observers during the event, an option we continue to actively explore. To minimize risk, Pride Fest activities remain a 21 and over event. Identification will be verified, and attendees will be required to wear bracelets to distinguish event participants. We're working with the Sebring Police Department to ensure the appropriate measures are in place to protect the safety and security of the event. Pride Fest organizers created a zero-tolerance participant code of conduct so attendees understand the expectations and challenges of hosting this event as we navigate the vague language contained in SB 1438 and await legal challenges to this unconstitutional law, just as we saw this past Friday when Trump-appointed District Judge Thomas Parker struck down Tennessee's anti-drag law, calling it both unconstitutionally vague and substantially overbroad. In addition, a ruling was handed down today from District Court Judge Robert Hinkle, a Clinton appointee, granting a preliminary injunction blocking enforcement of the law signed by Governor DeSantis preventing gender-affirming care.
You have 30
These case outcomes prove the preservation of free speech is not a partisan issue. Despite the opposition to SB 1438, we will not place our event organizers, hosts, or council members in risk of legal jeopardy. With that, the Highlands County LGBT+ Caucus thanks our city and community partners, our attendees, sponsors, donors, vendors, and everyone who worked tirelessly to execute this event. Thank you for all of us those who stood up for us and continue to stand with us. We look forward to a jubilant and celebratory Pride Fest. Oh.
Thank you. Okay, Christopher Daniel
Davies.
Davies. Okay, that's a V, not an N.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christopher Davies, the founder and president of the Highlands LGBT Caucus and organizer of Pride Fest 2023. As Jeff mentioned, he's kind of hit all of my high points. I just wanted to say thank you for being kind, decent human beings and supporting us in this event. We've gotten some negative comments in the community from a minority, but we are going to make this event safe and successful, and I look forward to updating you after Pride Fest occurs at the next City Council meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see. Where's 4? Karen Emery?
You got Michaela Ryan.
Oh, sorry, I'll get her name.
Yes, hello. Thank you. I am Karen Emery, a Sebring resident of 5 years. I'm really proud that we are able to have this Pride Fest. I have grandchildren, and I'm going to tell you, I didn't know I was going to have a gay grandson. But I'm here today to represent his rights, his freedoms, as we are in the USA. I thank you for your billboards. I'm not sure where it was from, but I'm thankful that you helping us out, getting the word out. We don't know what our children will be. We don't know what we will next be. We are the USA. We do need to keep our freedom for all. Thank you.
Michaela Ryan. And then? Oh, there she
I'm Michaela Ryan of Sebring, Florida since 1993. One of my issues has already been addressed and spoken to, assuring the safety of the children in the bill HB 1438, that it's a visual law, so somebody needs to be there to monitor it. I would also like to ask that you restrict the age to 21 and above.
It is restricted to 20.
Oh, it is?
Yes, ma'am.
Because the application said all ages.
The inside function is 21 and up. The outside in the road, outside areas, that's younger ages.
But everything is 21 and over.
Oh, excuse me.
Every single
Everything.
event other than the Pride Service at annual United
Right, right. That's what I understood.
I apologize. Would you mind just coming up and saying that so we're clear for the record? My
I just
apologies for the
want to be clear. Pride Fest is a 21 and over ticketed, braceleted event. The only places where people under the age of 21 will be permitted is at the church service and at Faded, because they're a public restaurant and Emmanuel is a church. Everything else is 21 and over.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Phil White. Well, you have to come up here and talk when it's your turn.
My name is Phil White. I'm a graduate of Sebring High School, graduated of the University of Florida. These people would say that they are not pedophiles. People on the other side will say they are pedophiles.
Hey, no.
I'm just saying what other people say. There are two sides to this thing.
Yes, sir,
But
but we
Churchill-
don't need anybody.
If you'll please direct your comments to the board and not to members of the audience, please.
Well, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, but I just want to stop them from saying things. Go ahead.
Well, at any rate, Churchill said there are lies, there are damnable lies, and there are statistics. You can run a survey and get any results you want to. So I am forced to fall back on my personal experience. I'm 80 years old. I grew up here, okay? Anyway, when I was 15, a man in this community who was a husband and a father tried to pick me up. As soon as I realized what was going on, I said, "You can let me out right here," okay? A few years later, a man who worked for my father was arrested because they caught him with an underage male, okay? So I cannot depend on statistics because people will skew them any way they want to. So I have to fall back on personal experience. And you may say it's anecdotal, but the 2 times in my life I've been involved in this type of situation, or known closely the individuals involved, it's been a homosexual, pedophile type of situation. Now I remember Brian White was the homophiliac who died. He was the poster boy for all those people who died because the gay community got up and demanded they be allowed to donate blood 2 years into the AIDS epidemic. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Earl Claire?
Earl Claire.
While he's on the way up, let's don't do any name calling and pointing your finger at people because, yeah, we're human beings and so let's, no name callings, please.
Thank you.
State your name.
I will. My name is Earl Claire, and I'm a resident of Highlands County, live in Lake Placid, and I attend church here in Sebring. I reviewed the application for the event that y'all approved on May 16th. It looks to me like you approved everything on it, including waiving the fees, $400. So it's going to be a taxpayer's expense. You approved a variance to the Sebring ordinance, open container ordinance. going to be public drinking on Sunday afternoon during church hours. I'm appalled. I am absolutely appalled. I can't believe that 4 of you would vote in favor of that. Not only that, down here they ask for all ages, 3 to 8 p.m. Regardless of what he just said, you approved all ages. I think you have to re-vote on this, because the testimony that was given here before was testimony was going to be 21 and over, but yet in fine print, this is what you approved. Okay? Public drinking, taxpayers' expense, Sunday afternoon, all ages. They are after our children, our grandchildren, and y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. I'm appalled.
Hey. That's enough. Do it again. That's, yes, sir.
Many of us have been praying.
Not yet.
Many of us have been praying that the event canceled, that either the organizers would cancel it, or one of you that approved this would have the courage to say, hey, I was misled. Okay? I approved all ages. I'm asking for one of you, I'm asking for you, Mr. Swain, to rule on this. Okay?
You have 20 seconds.
Okay, these people were misled. We pray that Highlands County would remain a physically and morally safe place for families and children. I thank you for the time.
Mr. Clare has asked for essentially council to revote or reconsider its previous vote. And if it wishes to do that, there would need to be a motion and a second in favor of doing so.
Is that, do you feel that's necessary, Bob?
I don't believe the council needs to revisit its
For some
vote.
reassurance that the age limit will be 21? Would that be?
That's what they have told us. Now, at the previous meeting, they also said that none of the activity that would be prohibited by what is now Chapter 2023-94 would be conducted outside in the public view.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they need age restrictions then?
I thought they made it clear that the whole thing
Yeah.
outside was gonna be 21 plus last
Yeah,
time,
so did
because.
I.
And maybe I
And I thought
misunderstood.
the
I know that's what
application
you
was
did.
sent in before that bill, and they changed it after that bill came across.
I mean, because you all don't need to reconsider it. You don't. You're not legally required to. If you choose to do so, you would need a motion and a second to do so.
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay?
Let's keep it down, you know.
Where do you people send your children?
Call it the next.
Hey, that's enough. We're not gonna have no outbursts. We're trying to run a civil meeting here. Well,
They're speaking out too.
Call the next guy.
Michael
Zarzano.
Zarzano. Just remember, no name calling. We're not here to hate people. You know, all of y'all that are coming up here say you're Christians. That's enough. I'll close the meeting.
My name is Michael Anthony Zarzano. I'm a resident of Sebring. And you need to be reminded, sir, that we don't hate, but the Bible says God hates workers of iniquity. There was a city called Sodom and Gomorrah. He didn't play games. He destroyed them. He burned them with fire and brimstone because of their sexual immorality. You have "In God We Trust" on the wall behind you. 4 of you are the reason for this abomination of homosexual pride that's going to visit Sebring, with the exception of the Honorable Councilwoman Mindell. I pray that you don't go to your deathbed without repentance. Mr. George Sebring, it's been well known that he created this community for a retirement for Christian ministers. But let's dig a little deeper into his history. One of his favorite preachers of all time, was a man known around the world for his fiery preaching against sinful sexual sin. His name was Billy Sunday. He was known around the world. And yes, I'm going to look at the audience. You're not going to tell anyone that comes to this podium that they have to look at you. This is a free country, and if I want to address these fine people, I will do so. It was falsely admonished by so-called legal counsel at one of the previous meetings that you better not vote against this because they had the legal right to have their abominable homosexual pride fest. That couldn't be further from the truth, sir. Gentlemen, many communities all across this country have outlawed these pride fests. They have outlawed alcohol in certain counties at certain times of day. They have outlawed Playboy magazines. Some would say that's a violation of free speech. No, not when the community is at risk. They protect their innocent eyes of the children.
That's enough.
Why don't you do that when the other side
Because
claps?
they're not doing that.
Yeah, they have in the past, and you sat there silently. It's on video, sir. Your
Okay.
bias is well known, and you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. The Bible is very clear. This is not a questionable issue. You're committing fraud
You got 30
to the
seconds.
American people in this community by allowing such an abomination. You are committing fraud, spiritual, religious fraud. Mr. Sebring and Billy Sunday, if they were here today, they would rebuke you with the strongest fervor. You would be humiliated.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Daniel Garvin.
Name is Daniel Garvin, resident of Sebring, Sun and Lake. I'm not here. I address the council here. I appreciate you allowing us to do this. I'm not here speaking against people. I am here to speak against the public demonstration of sexual immorality which affects all people of all ages, but especially children. As a Christian believer, it is my desire to walk in love as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us. But I want to read this quote from the guidebook of all life. There are some of you who profess to be Christian. You'll be very familiar with this, I believe. Sexual immorality and all impurity or covetousness must not even be named among you, as it is proper among saints. Let there be no filthiness, no foolish talk, no crude joking, which are out of place, but instead let there be thanksgiving. For you may be sure of this, that everyone who is sexually immoral or impure, or who is covetous, has no inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and God. Let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of these things the wrath of God comes upon the sons of disobedience. Therefore, this is the word of the Lord, therefore do not become partners with them. And I'm sorry I can't get your attention, but this is what I have to say. For at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light, for the fruit of light is found in all that is good and right and true, and try to discern what is pleasing to the Lord. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Based on the Word of God, I am requesting that you reconsider allowing this Pride event to take place and cancel the Pride demonstration. Thank you.
Aisha, you're up.
I'm not speaking about the festival.
Okay.
You know, I can't attend, but I support all of my people and hope that they have a joyous celebration. I'm here to talk about family education on June 29th. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
He calls them up in the order that they were.
Oh,
turned in.
okay. My name is Aisha Aliande. I'm the Executive Director of Heartland Core Wellness. And on June 29th, we will be partnering with the AME Church on Martin Luther King Boulevard to do a family education event from 10 to 2. It is free to the public. And we will be talking about Fatherhood, a New Fatherhood Initiative. That is a 14-week evidence-based program. We will be talking about marijuana and pregnancy, and we will be talking about a doula program. So all of it is centered around moms and dads and creating a happy and healthy family. We will also be sharing maternal child health statistics. So any of our public leaders, moms, dads, grandparents, all, please come, because we share science, which is evidence-based information. So that means we look at statistics and how the information is shared. And this is national, state, and county statistics. And that is what we move forward with. We don't move forward with any opinions, so that we can make choices based off of the information that we learn through education. We also, as the Executive Director of Heartland Core Wellness, I do also want to share that some of the information up here regarding statistics, when it comes to pedophiles and crimes and things of that nature, most of those crimes, if you look at anything from our Department of Justice or the CDC, a lot of those crimes are committed by heterosexual individuals. And when I think about the danger for my children being brown, we don't talk about being scared of our homosexual brothers and sisters. We have more fear of some of the people that are exhibiting aggression in this space and then professing to love God and using religion as a tool to impart what seems, a lot of you are saying you don't hate, what seems like hatred. So while I won't be attending the event on Sunday, I hope that it is safe and that everyone can learn in a very loving environment.
Thank you. Brian Phillips.
Hello, I just moved here to
Tell us
Sebring.
who you are.
I'm Brian Phillips. I recently graduated from the University of Florida, moved back here to Sebring. I had a lot of offers to move to other cities, big cities, and I turned them down. And decided to move here because I wanted to get away from all of this. And now what we're seeing is it coming here to Highlands County. And something was brought up earlier that it appears fees have been waived for this event. And I have to say, it's a little ironic because we're talking about equality. Maybe we should have equality when it comes to paying our fees. I think that's one thing we should look at. Another thing that was recently mentioned regarding statistics and pedophilia was that heterosexuals are more likely to be pedophiles. While that's technically true, what they're not telling you is homosexuals are only 2 to 3% of the population, yet commit around 30% of all sexual abuses against children. It is true. I can check this down. I have it right here. Sure.
Your comments addressed to the board, please.
Sure. Let me pull up my source since she's curious. So this one was done by Dr. Steven Rubin of Whiteman College. That's one. Here's another one by Dr. Judy Reisman. This one looked at research compared to molestation rates of self-confessed homosexuals and heterosexuals. This one found that victims were 19.8 times more likely to be offended by homosexuals. 1984 Vermont survey, 22% of homosexuals admitted to it. We can look at, for example, another survey by the Los Angeles Times, which also found similar statistics. It's overwhelming statistics on it, but that's just something. She mentioned statistics, but then she also misleads people by not mentioning that homosexuals are only 2 to 3% of the population. Of course, they're going to be a minority if you're only 2 to 3% of the population. What she's not telling you is they're vastly overrepresented. That's just the facts. As a city, as a member of this city, I'm really want a recount of this. I would like this event completely canceled. We've had a lot of people come out here very upset, talking. The vast majority have been. And you're a public servant. You're supposed to work for us. I think we should all be. Why do you guys get the vote? Why don't we get the vote? I think we should be the ones that are allowed to vote, not just 4 or 5 people. That's all I have to say about that.
Lonnie Wells.
Well, good evening, Councilman Stewart, Councilman Bishop, Mayor Shoup, Councilman Carlisle, Councilman Havering, Councilwoman Mendel. It's a pleasure to say to you, I've got good news. See, I believe there is a man who came from heaven. He is the only Son of God. He made it his mission to be able to bring redemption to the greatest sinner that's sitting in this room. He brought his love to this earth so that we all can go to heaven and shun a very bad hell. Today, I compliment each one of y'all. You have got to have the wisdom of Solomon to do your jobs. You take much abuse from both sides of every issue. God bless you for doing it. God indeed ordained government. And he ordained government that man would be ruled so there would be peace. The only time a Christian should go outside of man's law is if it subverts God's law. I'm here today. I support your authority. I don't like your decision at all. I don't. But I respect you. And all I'm asking is this, is that you understand that we as Christians love each other. We love the LGBTQ community. I hate their sin. Yeah. There's a difference. There's a difference. I don't hate individuals. I'm tired of being accused of hate speech because we draw a line between the individual and the sin. God's got his mercy, he's got his grace, he's got his redemptive power that all men can go to be with him if they will repent. So let's go one step further. God gives us rights and he gives us privileges. You know, certain things we're talking here today, I just want to get a little bit of differentiation. In my humble opinion, a Pride Fest is a privilege, it's not a right. And I'm looking to you, City Council, to be led by your governmental authority given by God Almighty to discern, is this a privilege you ought to bestow upon a group of people who says, we don't want any of your children on the street after a certain hour because it may not be appropriate for your children.
Got 30 seconds.
Well, it was close. It was very close. There was a time limit that only adults need to be there. So all I'm saying is this, if there's a time at any of this fest that a child would not be appropriate for a child, I humbly submit to you, it's not appropriate for the adults in a family community town. I would also say to y'all is that we are sincerely praying for you. Please don't take any remark here as personal. It's not meant to be. We love you. We're praying for you. I'm praying that God's wisdom will come upon you and that y'all will have peace and that God will bless you and bless this great city of Sebring.
John Watson.
You know where I stand. I spoke before, very respectfully to both sides. Homosexuality has been around for a long time. The one that really bothers me is the LGBTQ. They can't differentiate. This is going to sound like sarcasm, what letter of the alphabet they may be, what sex or what gender they may be. It's very confusing for our kids. As parents, we need to train up our children in the way they should go. If our kids are telling us how they should go, I think the priorities are mixed up in our families. I don't agree with this event. I got respect for the people that are standing up and their beliefs. I appreciate them understanding our beliefs. We don't agree, but I appreciate your guys' position. I appreciate your service. I disagree with your decision. I just pray that it could be canceled. Thank you.
Anthony Miller.
Good evening, Council. My throat's a little sore, so bear with me.
Tell us who you are.
My name's Anthony Miller. I live in Sebring, in the county of Highland County. I think it's really sad what I'm hearing. I've been gay my whole life. I've worked full life. I was a law-abiding, tax-paying person. Okay? All I wanted was the equal rights like everybody else. I have a lover I've had for 37 years. That because of, not you in particular, but because of some individual's beliefs about the gay community, that he was shot and paralyzed from the waist down for no reason at all because he was gay. Today I give him a handful of pills to maintain the shaking of his nervous system because he's paralyzed from the waist down because of some individuals' righteousness over another small group of people that just want to live their lives. I just want to live my life. I want to be able to share it with my community, not just them, but everybody. I just heard a preacher provide with some sort of silence for us to listen to before this meeting. It just went out the window. I think it's time for people to start learning how to accept each other regardless. You can say all you want to say about this and that and this. You can come up with all kinds of things out of the Google, looking up in Google, okay, to satisfy your position. But the thing is here, we are all God's children. God made me gay. I didn't choose this. Okay? You may agree. You think it's fun coming up here and being pointed at because I have to be who I am? No, I don't.
If you please address the board, please, sir.
I am. I am up here because I am a human being. I love who I love. Okay? I had fantastic parents. I was brought up very well. It's got nothing to do with it whatsoever. I'm telling you, I appreciate the stance that you're taking because what you're doing is you're standing up for what's right. These people are law-abiding, tax-paying citizens, and they have a right to be represented equally in this community. They are your firemen, they are your nurses, they are your doctors, they are at the retail store, at the grocery store. They're everywhere. Every day interacting with us. Every day interacting with us. There's no reason why they can't get together with themselves and be able to share within their own company. That's all they ask. They want peace to live safely and peacefully in their lives.
Okay.
Thank you.
Time's up. Thanks. Samuel?
My name is Samuel Sandoval. I'm a resident at Sebring. I want to say thank you.
Can you spell your last name? You didn't put it.
Sandoval. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak. In fact, I think this is something that is good to experience, to have the right to speak and express one's opinions. honestly, I want to apologize to the gentleman who just came up and felt that he's been wronged. He said that he was born gay, and that may be so, but Jesus said for all of us that we must be born again, whether we're born gay or not. Every human being is created in God's image, and because of this, we are all equal in worth and dignity. We have also been endowed with unalienable God-given rights, including and not limited to the right of freedom of thought and belief and freedom of speech. Some here are exercising their right of speech and belief by advocating for the celebration of Pride. I'm here as a concerned citizen, and I'd like to bring to light what I have observed through media and other things in relation to the celebration of Pride. And maybe you all have observed this as well. So, from what I've observed, Pride is about tuck-friendly bathing suits for women. Pride is about encouraging drag queen story time for children. Pride is about denying basic scientific facts related to biology and promoting unscientific gender identity ideology. Pride is about the over-sexualization of our society and promoting sexual preferences as the most important component of a person's identity. Seems that Pride is about promoting inclusion by advocating for males to compete in female sports. Pride is about advocating for males to use female washrooms. Pride is about parading bearded males dressed as princesses. Pride is about celebrating and normalizing autogenophilia. And I can go on, but I won't. It seems to me that Pride celebrations are not appropriate for children. Adults may choose to celebrate their sexuality and sexual preferences, but it should be done in private, not in the public sphere. Sexuality and sexual conduct is a private affair. I don't understand why there needs to be a road closure and an age restriction if there's not going to be any misconduct on the road.
You have 30 seconds.
Can we keep the celebration in your private venue, but we don't have to celebrate sexuality and sexual preferences on the public roads?
I'd like to make a comment. And I believe your name was Anthony up before Mr. Sam. My heart's broken by what you said about your friend being shot. That's horrible. And no person that loves or follows Jesus Christ would ever do such a thing. And we love our neighbors, all our neighbors, black, white, gay, whatever. We want to be very respectful and have you feel loved and accepted in your community. And there are many gay people that here that I've worked with, and they're just lovely. And terrible to say, I'd rather go to lunch with some of them than some of the Christians I know. That's a horrible thing to say. But, you know, that is, I'm heartbroken by what you said. And I don't feel that way at all. And the Christian brothers and sisters I know don't feel that way. So I'm making an apology to you. Now, I am standing against the Pride Fest. I don't think that's good for our city. And I do believe that you certainly have the freedom to have a Pride Fest, but just not to be approved by the city or not to be closing our streets or having us waive the fees. And I've already been down that road. But I just wanted to tell you that my heart really heard what you said. And Christians would not do such as that or be mean to other people just because they didn't think the way we Christians think. So that's all I just wanted to say.
Deborah Tyler.
My name's Deborah McGinn Titler. I live in Sebring. Y'all heard from me last time. I do want to remind you about the Constitution, you know, that we're all supposed to be equal here But if you're worried about the sexualization of children, how many beauty pageants have you been to with little girls this big, all dressed up with tons of makeup and their hair all bouffanted out, and their talent is dressing in a bikini and wiggling their rear end? Okay? That's sexualization of children. Not allowing people who, just because they love who they love, can't have a parade.
Man, you need to.
I'm sorry. I mean, this is what drives me crazy, because that's a two-faced ideology. What about, any of your daughters go to a dance studio that competes and they all dance and they twerk? Okay, that's sexualization of children. But I don't object to that, because that's the parents' right to do that if they want to. I don't have to attend. And that's what I'm saying to all these people that are objecting. You don't have to attend. Just stay home.
Last but not least, Reverend George Miller. You're kind of like our city clerk. You're last on the list.
Wow.
So,
That's a good place. That's a good place.
my name is Reverend George Miller, and I'm going to give my address, 310 Matlow Avenue, Sebring, Florida, and my phone number is 863-214-4101. I am also a board member at large for the NAACP. I am here for one reason and one reason only. I know there's nothing I can say that's going to change opinions. I know the job of City Council is to focus on business and not focus on all the other things that have been discussed. I look back to history, and I think about how in 1933, when Nazism first began, under the cloak of faith, one of the first things they did was go after the gay community. And they took the gay individuals and they shaved their hair and they stripped them of their clothes and they put pink badges on them, and then they put them into concentration camps in which they worked them very hard, and then when they were done being worked, they were put into gas ovens or fire chambers. The important thing is that this was done under the basis of one person's or one group's understanding of faith. The reason I'm standing up today is I think about how come no one stood up back then to speak up. And the reason I'm standing here today is 50 years from now, 100 years from now, when people are looking at Sebring's history, I don't want anyone to say, why wasn't there a Christian pastor who stood up and spoke and defended a community that was being attacked? And I think it's very important for us to regain the narrative that is taking place. What I have heard is a well-organized group who wants to hold an event called Pride. Not once have I heard any of those individuals mention the word sex or describe sexual behavior. The people I've noticed who have used the word sex and talked about sex nonstop, who have done research and have used sexual terms, are the people who are in opposition. So the question now becomes, who is it that actually has sex on their brain? Because I'm not hearing it from the LGBT community.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
I'm hearing it from other people who are speaking against it. So I would like to reclaim the narrative that the gay community has never brought sex into this conversation, and it has been the opposite side. And I think that's very important for us to realize and to validate. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate this.
Okie dokie, that was all of our audience.
Lenore, can I say something before we move on?
Sure, sure.
I wanted to weigh in on this. I got a couple things to read. I prepared. First thing is the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of people peaceably to assemble or to petition the government for a redress of grievances. When each one of us on this podium were sworn into office, we took an oath to uphold the Constitution and the government of the United States in the state of Florida. That takes precedence in our role as city council persons. Every one of us have our own personal and religious beliefs. To me, those end when I walk in the door. The Constitution comes first. I'm not ever going to vote to infringe on the First Amendment rights of any group wanting to hold a lawful event. Any group, okay? If it's a Christian event and it's lawful, I'm all for it. If it's not a Christian event but it is lawful, I'm all for it. The City Council doesn't endorse any event by any private organization. What we do is approve road closures and other logistical items. What the local LGBTQ group have asked for simply is a road closure and a temporary waiver of the open container ordinance. This is no different than the event Sippin' on the Circle that Rotary and the Art League did a couple weekends ago. In fact, it's a very small event compared to that and far less fees. We waived those fees as well, by the way. And that's really all I have to say.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I have another comment to make. I forgot Mr. Davis's first name, Chris Davis, is the president of the Highlands LGB. I'm not sure I'm getting the exact. Yeah, and that is a caucus, a registered caucus of the Democratic Party. And I don't believe our city government should be waiving fees for a political party. And that is something that I've been looking into. And I think that is a real problem.
Well, hey, we're done. We're done.
Co-chair of the Democratic Party.
Don't cry.
They are not a registered caucus at this point in time of our party. They're not organized under the Democratic.
Well, I have the papers right here that were sent to me by a citizen that says otherwise, and I was not aware of that.
They are trying to organize an LGBTQ caucus, but that organization has not yet happened.
Well,
We
Okay.
have to certify it with the state, but it hasn't been done.
We need to move on. Thank you.
yes.
Okay, 12 is the attorney's business.
Yes, sir. On your agenda is ordinance 1515. It's on your agenda for second and final reading. Excuse me. It's entitled an ordinance amending section 25-37C of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sebring to allow for the construction of fences on certain frontage on Lake Jackson, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date.
We need a motion.
Yep. I move to approve ordinance 1515 on second and final reading as presented.
And I second it.
Any comments? Kathy?
Bishop.
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, 13A is city administrator's business. Mr. Nagley.
Good evening, Council. Amendment number 2 to the interlocal agreement for the maintenance of the Sebring Parkway. As you all may be aware, we've had an interlocal agreement in place, I believe, since 2003 for maintenance of the Sebring Parkway. And as you all are aware, we've just lengthened or renovated the Sebring Parkway all the way down to US 27 from Youth Care Lane. This will incorporate, Amendment 2 will incorporate that into the original agreement.
And all of it's the same. Cost sharing through the
Yes.
through the parkway. This is
So
just continuing on with the new work.
50% share, cost share for the Sebring Parkway between the city and the county.
I move to approve amendment number 2 to interlocal agreement for maintenance of the Sebring Parkway as presented.
Second.
Any comments? Kathy? Call the roll.
Bishop.
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. You have something else?
Yes. Just real quickly, so a couple meetings ago, I think, you all talked about a comprehensive plan update. I have reached out to Central Florida Regional Planning Council. They indicated that we have an evaluation and appraisal report due in October of 2024, and that we would subsequently, after that, we could amend our comprehensive plan. So I just want to kind of give you the background of what an evaluation and appraisal report is. The EAR is required by Chapter 163 of the Florida statutes. The EAR process is an opportunity for local government to conduct community visioning as the city updates its 10 and 20-year comprehensive plan goals. As part of this process, the city may coordinate with Highlands County to develop a joint planning area within the city utility service area. The DEO grant opportunity, and there's a DEO grant opportunity out there that Central Florida would like to apply for on our behalf, if awarded, may provide the funding for the city to conduct that EAR, if you will, process, including visioning and consideration of a joint planning area. The grant application for that is due Friday, June 16th, and they're seeking approval to move forward with applying for that grant opportunity.
That sounds great. Okay.
So do we need a motion, Scott?
I don't know if you need one because I was going to ask them to do it anyway, but if it's a grant, we don't have to accept the grant, but I figure you might accept the grant if we were awarded it. But if you'd like to make a motion, that
We don't need to.
No.
Okay.
Good job. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, just making sure, cover all the bases. Okay, thanks, Scott. We're looking at you.
Last but not least again.
That's again. You and George can ride home together.
Councilman, paying of the bills, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, anybody don't want us to pay the bills? Yeah, well, turn the lights off and stuff. Kathy, please.
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes, ma'am. No one else. I will thank everybody for coming. We're
Sir, you have been asked to, the board to reconsider the vote on Friday. You've been asked by many people to do that. Are you going to talk about it?
We did.
Can I ask how you guys voted so I know who to vote out?
You know, I want to
Hey,
make a,
let's not even start this.
yeah.
The meeting is over.
Adjourn.
So,
Adjourn.
we're done.